Okay. Excuse me. Hey, Aurora. Thank you for signing up for this solo portfolio review. I have your portfolio. I took a quick look, and I'm going to share my screen and go over some things that I think you could improve on, some things I like. And yeah, let's get into it. So, first off, I loved this little kind of animation that you had. I like this little moment. I think it could be that like first animation could be a little bit faster. I don't know. There are some things here that kind of pop out to me that I think are feeling a little disjointed. One, I think this is a really interesting type face that you've chosen for your name here. Um, and I like this animation, the scroll interaction, but like this color jumps out at me, and I don't think of it in a good way necessarily. It just doesn't fit with this kind of like muted brown earthy color palette that you have. The other thing here as well, and again, I'm getting really nitpicky because I think you have a lot of good stuff here. So the typeface, the weight of this type for your secondary font is, I think, a little too heavy for like the Aurora sort of type. And so that kind of stands out to me. The other thing, so as I scroll down, I see you have these like cool kind of like animated cards. I think that's really awesome. It's showing a bit of personality. I would wonder, like, if you could figure out a better lockup than this, right? Because, like, you have this sort of like mouse interaction, which I don't know if it's like complete. Like, there's this, it's kind of jumpy, and I'd want the card to kind of follow my mouse wherever I was. But I wonder if, like, you could get a little bit more creative with like the negative space. You could center the description here rather than having it to the right. I appreciate that you have it right align or aligned to the right side, left line here so that it's legible. But I think you could probably figure out, because you've spent so much time on these cards, you could probably figure out a lockup that is centered here. So maybe the text is overlaid, or maybe the card is slightly smaller, and you really just kind of own the fact that you're using the center of the page and a lot of negative space around it. Again, I don't feel like this typeface fits within this initial sort of like look and feel of your website. Me personally, I just don't think it's you. It feels very just sort of, I don't want to say basic, but it feels very stock. And I think you can kind of push it and choose something that fits more of your personality. Um, I clicked into a couple of the first ones. So Gucci adverts. Again, this blue color just doesn't feel like it fits in for me. And I love that you have these cards here. I think you can kind of work on spacing a bit. Like, it feels weird that this margin below the cards, the other project, is a lot tighter than this margin. And perhaps maybe that is because like you're worried about the email up here on the top. If I move this thing down, you're worrying about the about me page over here. And so maybe there's a better solution for that as well. Um, I like how you have these like kind of big moments of like, what is the main question that you're trying to answer with these projects? The thing that I notice is that there are moments, not in this project necessarily, so I'm going to read through it really quickly. Personal advertisement concepts for 2022, drawing inspiration. This bar kind of sets me up, like I'm looking for information here. Like this bar sets me up to want to read something, whereas I have to go down here to do that. And so I wonder again if there's a better solution. Maybe that information comes up here. There's something here. Maybe you just don't even need this bar. Because like this is answering what the Gucci adverts is. One of the projects, I think I clicked on this one. I thought this was really cool because you have a lot of depth to this project. You've spent a lot of time on this, which is great. And it shows that there are moments in some of your mock-ups where I would appreciate some sort of context. And I had to scroll through this one a couple times just to get it. Like the one thing I was like, what is this? Because this isn't fast enough where that animation comes in. So I think you can either speed that up, and that might mean that you won't need to include some sort of like caption here. But when I got to this, I was like, what, how does this tie in? What is this? But I love this concept of like how it's sort of like pixelated and censored, that kind of look and feel. And then it collapses in and it reveals, whatever the image or video is behind it. Yeah, I think, you have a lot of great quality mocks here, which is awesome. and you've done a lot of like exercises of how this brand can be applied. And I think that's great. So this is an awesome project. I love that you have captions here. Like, again, that's great. I would almost feel like I think the one thing that stands out, right, where you have moments like this where you're drawing attention, you're drawing the viewer's eyes to it, and it kind of forces me to read. But when you start to include like, then this feels like a caption almost, right? So it's almost like not important. Like as a consumer, as a viewer, I can potentially easily brief over this because we're kind of trained to know that like any caption or any text below an image is sort of just like an attribution or something. So I wonder if there is a way that you can make this more, give it more focus or give it more attention so that people actually stop. One other small thing on this project is that I think you need to speed this animation up. I'm like watching it and it's taking a little bit longer than I'd like because the first couple of seconds, there's not really much here. So if I'm scrolling really fast, I'm just going to pass it. I'll go to your about page really quickly. Ooh, that's cool. I don't like this box. I don't like how you have this boxed in. And I'd love to see more kind of like designed layout similar to the rest of your website. Again, like this color just to me doesn't fit in. And similarly here, where you have this like right aligned sort of thing, I understand why. I'm not a huge fan because it's just leaving all this negative space. It's like you're trying to own the negative space, and instead of doing that, why not consider having a centered layout that gives a little bit more emphasis to the image or, something. It's just like this doesn't do it for me. Perhaps if this layout was kind of like altered where you're in left, right, I don't know. This just isn't, it's good. It's just not completely sitting well with me. And let me just take a look at mobile really quickly. Screen, iPhone, SE. Okay. Yeah, see, like that's cool. Awesome. Yeah, see, like this centered layout already starts to feel a lot better. And it would, if you're building this in Webflow, you'd save yourself a lot of time being able to just use the same layout for desktop and mobile on this. And potentially even playing around with like how the cards are angled, right? So if the cards are angled left, right, and they move with the cursor, maybe that's your solution. I think that would be really cool. So yeah. Stop the share. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Again, sorry for the delay. I appreciate you signing up. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and have a good day.